Nathan Beats.
What's up, y'all? This your boy, Mr. Attitude 40. I'm back with another episode today. I just wanted to give y'all, some solid content for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I want the makeup time to be consistent. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not gonna be this consistent like that every week. But birthday coming up in 2 days. I'm gonna be the big 37. I'm just thankful and blessed to make it through another day. Well, hopefully make it to we'll make it through another day, make it through another year. You know what I'm saying? I just want to thank God most importantly. If it wasn't for Him, won't be no me, won't be no Paige, won't be no y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how these go. But I'm just humble and thankful. You know what I'm saying? Also guys, if you need help in your mental, seek some therapy. You know what I'm saying? And today just a good day. The latest I called therapy today was so crazy. Before we get to the video, I had called out like, "Hey man, ready to get the money." And she called my insurance and she was like, "Hey, your stuff gonna be free for like the next 3 months." I was like, "All right, cool." So I'm looking forward to therapy, mental health and stuff like that, and she'll get right. You feel me? So but anyway, with that, I just want to give y'all some fire content. You know what I'm saying? This is the video I just wrote. Well, started writing like last week, but absolutely wrote. And the episode is about who's the best, Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels. And also, if you're new to the page, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button. You heard me? Get this fire content for real. You know the personal feud that was in the 90s between these two. You know what I'm saying? Remember they was close. They was close in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? They was cool as hell. But then when both got here, it got personal between the two. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? This is called Bret versus Shawn. Who is the best? You know what I'm saying? Let's get to it. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels are two legends who came up in the early 90s into the late Attitude Era, especially as the Hulk Hogan era was ending in the late 80s and going into the early 90s. Headed into the 90s, WWF and Vince McMahon needed some new star, some young blood, as Hogan went to Hollywood and stuff like that. And it was two men that stood out: Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels, HBK. You know what I'm saying? As both guys competed as tag team wrestlers, they were both ready to be solo stars. You got Bret Hart. In his early run, where he became Intercontinental Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Champion. He defeated Mr. Perfect in SummerSlam, Intercontinental Champion. And then you got, of course, he defeated Roddy Piper at WrestleMania to become the second Intercontinental Champion. And of course, in 1992, he defeated Ric Flair to become WWE Champion. Then, of course, my boy main evented WrestleMania, not once, but twice against the same opponent. Where Hogan messed him out in the first one, of course. Then he would beat Yokozuna in the second one, in the classic. The second match actually better than the first match. You know what I'm saying? And of course, in 1993, he became King of the Ring. In the meanwhile, his counterpart, Shawn Michaels, who had broke up with his tag team partner, Marty Jannetty. I know about them breakups, y'all. Ha ha! I'm just playing. It's a joke. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He broke up with Marty Jannetty. And shortly after the breakup, he had defeated the British Bulldog You know, because Bret won the Intercontinental. Well, British Bulldog won the Intercontinental title from Bret Hart, and he had the belt for like a month or two, and then he had lost to Shawn Michaels on Saturday Night Event, and Shawn became the Intercontinental Champion. So, as both guys rise to the top, at one point, people say they was close friends. But then both guys wanted to be the man in the face of the WWE. They both wanted the WWE title. And then this when things got personal by 1996. With all the build up around WrestleMania 12, Iron Man match, which Michaels had won 1-0 in overtime. You know, that's when Gorilla Monsoon came out, you know what I'm saying? You know, he did what he did. And Bret wanted to keep the belt. But something went down that Bret didn't like. You know what I'm saying? Bret did agree to lose in a clean finish. And it was a clean finish in a classic match. But later on, Bret did express his frustrations with Shawn. You know, he wouldn't put him over. You know what I'm saying? And plus, you know, with the infamous, you know, get the fuck out my ring. I'm like, dang. And there you go. You know what I'm saying? He did he did agree to push Shawn over. But later expressed his frustration with Shawn wouldn't do the same in a return rematch. Which Shawn didn't, because if y'all remember, they were supposed to have a rematch at WrestleMania 13, and that's when Shawn wanted to, you know, that's when Shawn had regained the belt from Sid, who he lost to at Survivor Series. Shawn had regained the belt at Royal Rumble in 1997, and he was supposed to put Bret over, but that's when he lost his smile. That's what the man said, not me. So, and then of course during that match, like I just said, he told Bret, he had told him to get the hell out of my ring. And this, I feel like this was a turning point in their relationship. Then of course, you know, they argue most of 96 and stuff like that. But then 97, the year it really got bad. You know what I'm saying? Where you had the infamous promo with Bret in the wheelchair. Then of course you got the one I'm finna mention now. Then you had the Sunny Days, where Shawn Michaels told Bret, "You had sunny days." Like Sunny, he made it seem like that Sunny and Bret was having an affair because they was good friends. But let's be honest, for the record, Shawn, and according to I heard on YouTube, Shawn had an affair with Sunny. That was documented because, you know, Sunny was married to Chris Candido. And also, Bulldog was having an affair with Sunny. So, you know, now that I think about it, that probably why Shawn and Bulldog match was kind of iffy. Bulldog was supposed to win, but, you know, Shawn being the ass, he like, shit, I want the belt. I don't even want the belt. I just don't want him to win. So, like I said, and Bret said at that time his marriage had got questioned. You know what I'm saying? His son was questioning him. His dad was questioning him. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that. And then, of course, during that controversy, Bret didn't had enough. So they got into a little fist fight or whatever. At the time, this when Shawn Michaels was threatening to quit the company. I feel like with that controversy at that point, the relationship at that point reached a personal it reached its boiling point, and it was at no return. So which led to 1997, to Survivor Series. The relationship has reached the boiling point. You know what I'm saying? Then of course around November, with Hart and the WWE failed to reach an agreement, tensions was very high between the guys. And plus, despite Bret Hart having creative control, Bret found himself in a crazy situation in the final month of his contract. So at one point, he had agreed to drop the belt, but not in his hometown Canada, because Survivor Series was in Canada. You know what I'm saying? It was in his hometown. I think at one point he said he would have agreed to drop the belt to Stone Cold. He just didn't want to drop it to Shawn because I think he said him and Shawn had a talk, and Bret was like, I'll drop the belt to you, I'll do this, I'll do that. But Shawn Michaels said, I wouldn't do it for you. And that's when Bret said, F this business, I'm going to do this. Because Bret was going to WCW. And at the time, Vince was concerned that Bret was not going to do business. So, you know what I'm saying? Let me get back to this. So, at that point, that's when Vince came up. Because Vince feared that Hart wasn't going to do business. So that's when Vince, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, they said who was the original mastermind to come up with the plan. That's why you see Bret Hart send a lot of shots at Triple H. Even when you seen them shake hands at WrestleMania, you know what I'm saying? You know, I think Bret, he cared for Shawn, but I don't think he like Hunter to this day. And it's like, Bret, gotta let that go, man. I mean, you still sending shots at Goldberg. But, you know. So that's when they came up with the plan. So the match happened. Classic match. And they said the match, I just said, you know what I'm saying, I was watching earlier, the match was supposed to be 40 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I remember Triple H said earlier I was watching, he was like, you know, because Vince came out during the match, and, you know, Triple H was like, yo, Vince wanted to let him know I'm out. I mean, he wanted to let Bret know I'm out here. I'm the one that came up with this issue. You know what I'm saying? So the match was back and forth. Classic match. Then the moment happened. Shawn Michaels went for the sharpshooter. Vince, my boy didn't even tap. He just, you know what I mean? Vince like, F that, we gone. And that's when, you know, the controversy went down in the locker room and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Undertaker, you know, everybody was in the locker room shop. Undertaker, Mankind, Kane. Shit, Undertaker was right there with mine. Bret Hart got him made the 2-piece in the biscuit. Wham! Cause they said, you know, Bret Hart said, even Funk Flash, he said, man, if you're in this locker room, I'm gonna knock your ass out. And he knocked Vince's ass out. And he left. You know what I'm saying? So did Bulldog and Bulldog left. I think Owen and Neidhart stayed for like a month. Then they let him go. But Owen stayed. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, or whatever. So, like I said, they came up with the plan. After the situation, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, like, Bret was hurt. You know what I'm saying? I feel Bret. You know what I'm saying? After 13 years, man, I did all this for you, bro. And you gonna screw me, bro? But you gotta remember that when you mess with people, calm and happy. Yeah. And both guys went through a lot after that. So think about it like this. You got Bret Hart. They say he got the biggest contract at the time, $9 million from WCW. But let's be real, that run was trash. That wasn't it. It was garbage. The booking with her, he went through a lot. You know what I'm saying? He had, matches with Sting, but it wasn't it. I think only matches Brett I think like at that time was the last thing he did with the Goldberg. He liked his stuff with DDP and Booker T, and of course he liked the match with Benoit. Yeah, but that run was trash. Then tragic happened 2 years later, a year and a half later. I thought, I put down, but I forgot to put this down. He lost his baby brother to a failed stunt in Kansas City in 1999. Then, of course, he had became WCW champion. And man, we up here, Brett feeling good. And of course, he had a match with Goldberg, which was going well for a minute. Then, of course, he had the kick around the world. Shit, according to Brett, he hate Goldberg to this day. Cause it. Then, of course, by 2002, he had a stroke. So, the guys were going through tragedy. You know what I'm saying? Through the moments. You know what I'm saying? Then, of course, HBK, a few months later, after the match, well, really, 2 months after the match, he was in a casting match with The Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? And, tragic happened to him too. Where he had, basically, he lost his match to Stone Cold at WrestleMania, but Shawn didn't want to let go. And Shawn didn't want to retire, but it was Austin time. If you know the controversy around WrestleMania 14, you know. And Shawn was forced to early retirement. Well, he was still with the company. He was a commentator, commissioner, and all that. But by that time, I think they said the drugs got the best of him and stuff like that. And him and Triple H stopped talking for a minute because they got into it real bad. And I'm pretty sure they said some stuff to each other that they didn't like. And they made amends. But they both went through their own tragedies. And then, of course, you know what I'm saying, by 2010, both guys have grown and matured and made truce. January 4th, well, I ain't gonna say New Year, but January 4th, 2010, both guys apologized to each other and forgave each other and made amends. Because you gotta remember, that was a big situation that people still talking about to this day. Even before you had some people saying that was a work, it was fake. You know what I'm saying? You had both guys made amends. You know what I'm saying? You had Shawn who went through a growth and went through Christianity and changed his life, and he ain't the a-hole that he was before. And I think Brett let go of a little bit of the hatred from the situation because he ain't let go of that Goldberg stuff. But the thing is, y'all, at it, times heal all wounds. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much you dislike a person, time heal all wounds. And you gotta be willing to forgive them because they both did stuff to each other they probably didn't like. Hell, they did a collaborative DVD, you know what I'm saying, with Jim Ross interviewing them, coming together. You know what I'm saying? And you just gotta come together, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, no matter what, because I don't wish harm on nobody. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure, and I remember that apology was, that situation was weighing heavy on Shawn at the time. You know what I'm saying? I seen that comment where Shawn said he regretted doing it. It was unprofessional. And, you know what I'm saying? Accountability and forgiveness. You just got to go on with life. And just because you apologize to somebody or somebody apologize to you, you ain't got to be their best friend, but just forgive that person and the other person, the person you forgive them, and move on with life. Because if you sit here both holding on with grudges, you're going to block your blessings. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you go through pain and stuff. You go through pain and stuff, hurt, but it's all right. You know what I'm saying? But that was a beautiful story and stuff like that. So with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And keep God first. For real. Cause I already believe, but I'm saying I'm really believing it. Keep God first, bro. And everything gonna be alright. Cause if you ain't got God in your life, then I don't know what to tell you. But with that being said, I'm clear. I give y'all 5 products. I just want to give y'all some 5 products this week. Cause I know I was consistent at one point. And I think I'm right. I'm writing Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan right now. Well, I ain't gonna probably write it today, but I'm gonna continue to give y'all 5 content. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all. Out. Hold up. Before I go, I gotta ask y'all something. Who y'all think was better too? Who you think had the better career? Let's see. Bret stats. Bret was a 2-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 4-time WCW champion, 1-time WCW Tag Champion, and of course 5-time WWE Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, and of course 2-time WWF Tag Team Champion, and of course King of the Ring winner, and 2-time main event the WrestleMania back to back. Then of course you got Shawn Michaels' career. 3-time WWF champion, 1-time World Heavyweight champion, 3-time WWE Intercontinental champion, 6-time Tag Team champion, and of course 2-time main eventer, and he main evented 1 WrestleMania. I don't know. Both guys was the great wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? And who's the better performer? It's a hard call. But with that being said, y'all be the judge. Y'all put them in the comment. But with that being said, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love life. I love Christ. I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no hatred in my heart for nobody, dog. And don't hold that hatred in you. You know what I'm saying? Just go for your goals right now and enjoy life. And with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'm out.
Nathan Beats.